Genesis 38. And it came to pass at that time that Judah departed from his brothers and visited a certain Adullamite whose name was Hira, which means noble. And Judah saw there a daughter of a certain Canaanite whose name was Shua, which means wealthy or in abundance, and he married her and then consummated the marriage and went into her. So she conceived and bore a son, and he called his name Er. Now his name means awake or watcher. She conceived again and bore a son, and she called his name Onan, which means strength or power. And she conceived yet again and bore a son, and called his name Shelah, and that can be a quiet prayer or a petition. And it says he was at Chezib when she bore him. So he had moved away from his brothers in Shechem or Canaan. They were all in the land of Canaan, but he moved away from them, so quite a distance. Then Judah took a wife for his firstborn, and her name was Tamar. But Judah's firstborn, was wicked in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord killed him. I mean, just think of this. You've got Abram, Isaac, Jacob. He has 12 sons, and then the son, his grandson of Jacob, is like wicked. It's like same family, and you can't tell how the people are going to end up. Verse 8, and Judah said to Onan, go into your brother's wife and marry her, and raise up an heir to your brother. But Onan knew that the heir would not be his, and it came to pass, when he went into his brother's wife, that he mitted on the ground, lest he should give an heir to his brother. So basically, he didn't want to fertilize her, so he didn't ejaculate in her. He spilt on the ground, and that is just a horrible thing to do. So he's denying her a son or an heir that can take over the family inheritance. Verse 10, and the thing which he did displeased the Lord. Therefore the Lord killed him also. Then Judah said to Tamar, his daughter-in-law, remain a widow in your father's house till my son Shelah is grown. For he said, lest he also die like his brother. So this is like I don't know if he said it loud to her or he thought it. And Tamar went and dwelt in her father's house. Verse 12 says, now in the process of time, the daughter of Shu, Judah's wife, died. So basically now Judah had no wife. And Judah was comforted and went up to his sheep shearers in Timnah, he and his friend Hira the Adullamite. And it was told Tamar, saying, look, your father-in-law is going up to Timnah to shear his sheep. So she took off her widow's garments, covered herself with a veil, and wrapped herself, and sat in an open place which was on the way to Timnah. For she saw that Shelah was grown. So now here you can see that Judah didn't fulfill his word, and she was not given to him as a wife. When Judah saw her, he thought she was a harlot, because she had covered her face. Then he turned to her by the way and said, please let me come in to you. For he did not know that she was his daughter-in-law. So she said, what will you give me, that you may come in to me? And he said, I will send a young goat from the flock. So she said, will you give me a pledge till you send it? See, she's already working out a plan to conceive. Then he said, what pledge shall I give you? So she said, your signet and cord and your staff that is in your hand. Then he gave them to her and went into her, and she conceived by him. So she arose and went away, and laid aside her veil, and put on the garments of her widowhood. And Judah sent the goat by the hand of his friend the Edomite, whose name was Hira, we know, to receive his pledge from the woman, or from the woman's hand, but he did not find her. Then he asked the men of that place. So this is now Hira asking, where is the harlot who was openly by the roadside? And the people of that place, they said, there was no harlot in this place. So he returned to Judah and said, I cannot find her. Also the men of that place said, there was no harlot in this place. Then Judah said, let her take them for herself, lest we be ashamed. For I sent this young goat, and you have not found her. Verse 24. And it came to pass about 3 months after that Judah was told, saying, Tamar, your daughter-in-law, has played the harlot. Furthermore, she is with child by harlotry. So Judah said, bring her out and let her be burnt. Yeah, what a way to treat your daughter-in-law, who, remember, you've not kept your word to. When she was brought out, she said to her father-in-law, saying, by the man to whom these belong, I am with child. And she said, please determine whose these are, the signet and cord and staff. Haha, vastgevang. So Judah acknowledged them and said, she has been more righteous than I, because I did not give her Shelah my son, and he never knew her again. In other words, Judah never knew Tamar again. Verse 27. Now it came to pass at the time for giving birth that, behold, twins were in her womb. And so it was, when she was giving birth, that the one put out his hand, and the midwife took a scarlet thread and bound it on his hand, saying, this one came out first. Then it happened, as he drew back his hand, that his brother came out unexpectedly, and she said, how did you break through? This breach be upon you. Therefore his name was called Perez. Afterwards his brother came out, who had the scarlet thread on his hand, and his name was called Zerah. So interesting, Perez means to the breach or to break through. And Zara means shining or brightness. And it's almost like the Lord saying, the shining and brightness, he will break through.